Hey there YouTube, today I'm going to be showing you guys a cool way of cooking a breakfast. It uses a couple tricks I just figured out. So, let me tell you a little bit about what we're going to be doing. We're going to be using this as our stove and using vegetable oil as our fuel. Vegetable oil needs a wick to burn, so we're using a piece of paper. And then instead of a pot, I'm going to show you how to fold a piece of aluminum foil to make a nice little disposable pot, so you don't have to clean dishes or anything. And a can of tomato sauce that this came from is like 30 cents. All you do is cut out the top. You cut a large window in front and a small one in back like this. Let's get started. First of all, let me show you how to fold this aluminum foil to make the pot. So basically what you do is, it should be relatively square. Then you just sort of fold over one edge a few times, and then you do the same on the other edge. Bam. Okay, so you fold it over the edge a few times. Okay, and then it can be nice to flip it over so that you don't get this crease for food to go in. I guess it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. You don't need to flip it over, but then what you do is you fold both ends down, or let's do one at a time. Well, we'll do them both at once. Fold both ends down like that, and then exactly the width of these little tabs you folded before, you fold corners in the aluminum foil. Okay, and so now you can see I have corners folded. Each of these corners are folded in, and then there's a little piece remaining on either side. So all I do is I fold those back over the corners. Okay, and now it looks like this. And then you just pull up on these sides, and then you get a little box type thing. So that's what I got. This is a little bit too narrow and too long for what I want. Yeah, it's not gonna fit on there. So let me just go back a little bit. And refold, redo this. Okay. Now this is much better. It's gonna fit perfectly on top of my stove. You want the long end forward to back, because more heat comes out of the large window in the front here. So that's what you'll be doing. Now let me show you how to make the wick for this stove. Vegetable oil needs a wick to burn. You just can't light it on fire and let it burn. So yeah, you need something. Originally I had a lot of trouble with stuff like paper and newspaper, getting it to be effective wick. But then I figured out a trick you can use that gets it to work pretty consistently. So hopefully that'll work out for us here. I don't need this whole sheet, I just ripped it in half. The trick is, you don't want to roll this up. You want to fold it accordion style. It's like I roll it up. I fold it accordion and then roll it the other way. If you just crumple it up, that doesn't work with paper and it doesn't burn consistently. But if you do this way, you'll get it like a consistent fire every time, and it'll burn at a consistent rate. So you fold it in half, then fold one side accordion style. I don't know if you can see there, that's folded accordion style, and then do the same with the other. Okay, so now I folded the piece of paper accordion style, lengthwise. Okay, so now I'm going to take this strip and I'm just going to roll it up. It doesn't have to be super tight or anything. In fact, you won't want it super tight. But after you put it in the stove, you don't want it super tight. So, okay, that's rolled up right there. You can see that. It doesn't have to be neat or anything. So then you just drop it in the bottom of the stove. Let it unroll a little bit actually, so it goes all the way around. And you want a little bit of space in there. So this is what it looks like once you have it in there. Okay? And then you don't need a lot of vegetable oil, especially because we're using this. This conducts heat very well. That's one of the benefits. Yeah, so you don't need a lot of vegetable oil, and what else? The thing I wanted to say is you're going to light one part of it, but it takes a while for the fire to spread all the way around. So we're going to do that right now, and then we're going to crack the eggs. So I'm going to pour a tiny bit of oil into this cap. Right there. And then just pour that over and get the wick as much as possible in oil, because the oil is what keeps it burning. And you can lift it up and roll it around to help the oil spread around over the wick. Okay, my fingers are getting a little bit dirty because these vegetable oil stoves are a little bit sooty and dirty, but it's not too bad. Yeah. So I'm gonna use a little bit more. Not that I need more fuel, but it's just hard to cover this paper thoroughly. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is like 5 times as much fuel as we need, honestly. But that's okay. Okay, so now let's light this. Okay, and it went out. I haven't been using paper a lot, so this may not work as quick and easily as other wicks I've been using. This is quite a bummer so far. Problem is it's not thoroughly soaked, but we may be able to get it going here. Okay, I'm hopeful for this here. It takes a while to spread around and get going, because just the way just the way it works. But I'm using a small twig, so I can hopefully spread this to other areas. So it's starting to pick up, and it'll take a few minutes to spread all the way around. So let's light in the whole thing. But in the meantime, we can take our eggs, crack them, put them in our little aluminum foil pot. Okay. And see, it's starting to go a little bit better. Let's take the stick and stir the eggs a little, because I like them scrambled-ish. Anyway. Okay, so now you take this and you put it on top, lengthwise, and at this point you just need to wait. So, only part of it is burning still. It's spreading a little bit. It's actually burning underneath, behind the front a little bit that you can't see very well. But that's one of the negatives of vegetable oil as a fuel for these type of stoves. It doesn't burn as well, so it needs help burning. And it's not quite as clean, but it does have a lot more energy in it than alcohol stoves. So, like, alcohol has an oxygen in there. Burning is combining things with oxygen. So since there's already an oxygen in alcohol, it doesn't give you as much energy when you mix in more oxygen with those hydrocarbon chains. But yeah, so the other positive of vegetable oil as a fuel, oh, it's starting to get going here, is that it's completely carbon neutral, because all these, it comes from vegetables that were grown in the last year or so. So vegetable oil as a fuel is completely carbon neutral. Olive oil, corn oil, all types of vegetable oil. You can actually run a diesel car off vegetable oil just fine. They did Mythbusters on it. So if you want to be carbon neutral, use vegetable oil. And it works pretty much just as well as diesel for diesel automobiles, from what I've heard. Don't have experience. Yeah. So it is a little bit more expensive for an automobile fuel unless you find waste vegetable oil. So, but as a cooking fuel, it's extremely affordable. And our stove's starting to go pretty well. We're getting a little bit of bubbles up here. The egg's cooking. And like I said, the greatest part, oh, it's dripping, it's leaking. It's gonna seal off though. We'll be okay. The thing I like most about this is you don't have to wash a pan. And when you're cooking or backpacking, that can be nice. Just make sure you clean up your trash and carry out your trash from the outdoors. But aluminum foil is really cheap. Like a square foot is like 4 or 5 cents. I was just looking online, and this is less than 1 square foot. So everything here to cook this up, it's just really affordable, really easy to carry around. And like I said, the wick you use, you can use tons of different materials, just anything papery and a little bit absorbent at least. Obviously, more absorbent is better, like toilet paper works better as a wick, or paper towels, anything really absorbent. But if you set it up right, like I showed you, then you can use anything. Okay, so now these eggs are just about done. The aluminum foil it stays pretty cool along the edges, but it can be a little bit hot. Okay, so yeah. Well, I'm gonna put these back on the other way around because they didn't quite cook evenly on both sides. But that's all there is to it. I think I just figured some of this out, using the aluminum foil as a cooking pot, and it works really well. So I hope you enjoy this video, and I'd love to see more people do stuff like this. So yeah. Looks like we're all about done, so you know what I'll do at this point is just see how much longer this burns, because this thing will burn for a while. And as you can see, the flames are pretty high. Yeah, it's quite warm. So you can use this style of stove with other stuff, like with a pot. I have a pot here for backpacking and stuff. But like I said, the aluminum foil conducts heat really well, so things cook really quickly. After I finish this video, I'll probably go back through and look at the times and tell you how long this burned for between the time I started it and the time it goes out. And it's sootier and dirtier than burning alcohol, but it's a lot cleaner than trying to burn wood. You can see a little bit of smoke coming off here, and it leaves residue on the bottom of our eggs, which is another nice thing, because we're just gonna throw this aluminum foil away when we're done, so we don't have to worry about cleaning off the bottom of a pot like this. That's another thing. Don't try to put this out with water. I should mention that. I dripped some water on there. If you try to put this out with water, it'll just make the oil explode. Like, the water will boil, it will shoot oil everywhere, and it makes pretty big flare ups. Oh, And there it's out. So, yeah, be careful when you do it. Be careful not to get water on there. I wasn't completely safe with everything I did. Should have had something that I could smother this with. But if you try this, make sure you be careful and tell me how it goes. Okay. Thanks, YouTube. That's it.